Yes, we are able to share the screen. Thank you, sir.
Okay, great, great. So let us just formally start the session. Most of the students have already been joined. So we'd like to welcome both of you. I mean Sunetra and Lakshmi, for conducting this session on this resilience and emotional stability for the MBA students of Swami Vivekananda Group of Institutes. So probably all the students, all of you know that Sunetra Malik is the HR and admin of Aditya Group, and Lakshmi Kundu is the learning consultant from IBM. So both of them will be taking a session together on this resilience and emotional stability. So both of them are having great amount of experience in the industry. So they will be sharing their experience and knowledge with you. So it will be a great learning experience, I hope, for all of you. So attend the session. If you have any questions, so whenever the ma'am will be asking for question and answer, you can ask questions. So thank you so much, Sunetra and Lakshmi, for attending and conducting this session. So welcome to the MBA department of Swami Vivekananda Group of Institutes.
Thank you so much.
It's our privilege.
Yes.
So the stage is all yours. You can just start right now.
Yeah, at the very outset, good evening, everyone. And
Good evening, ma'am.
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 thank you so much, Swami Vivekananda Group of Institutes and Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology, for giving us this wonderful opportunity to be a part and share our experiences with you all. So students, as you can see, you have come back, you have left school around 10 years back. So how does it feel like to go down the memory lane? Let's take a step back to our school days, recollect some of our fond memories, our much cherished memories. I would love to hear from the students your memories. Please unmute one by one, and if you can share.
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening, ma'am. This is Pallavi.
Yes, Pallavi, tell me.
And I remember I had the best days when I was in school. I also, even if I get the opportunity to visit that school sometimes, I would love to. I visited back a few years ago, and it was all like that nostalgia hit like very differently. It was very good to see that same structure, and meeting of some old friends.
Right. So very, very loving and caring. Can I please request to unmute yourselves and speak only one by one?
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, I'm Shweta. Yes, ma'am, school days was too much exciting, and where we have spent our childhood times with friends and teachers, and where we have learned so many things, so many cute things we have learned there, and so many complaints and so many punishments we have faced. And I enjoyed my school days life because I enjoyed most of the time in auditorium because there is so many culturals. So I always put in my culturals. So I've enjoyed. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you. So we all have our loving memories, something that we will be taking along with us our entire life. So once again, we have to come back from our school day dreams, and we welcome you to the session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome. So before we start off with the session, there are some rules that you need to keep in mind. We are just here for an hour, so we have to manage this hour in a very, very efficient manner. So let us follow some of these rules, and if you are having any questions, we will definitely answer each of them in the question answer round once the session is over. And at that time, you can enable your videos for the question answer round.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, understood.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay,
Got it,
ma'am.
ma'am.
During our school days, we have sometimes skipped our classes. We have forgotten to do our homeworks and then quietly sat in the classroom so that the teachers won't know about it. So some pranks we have done in our school days. All these fun, all these nice memories we remember. The courses that we have done, the poetry, the prose that we have studied, we hardly remember. But if we carefully go through the poetries, the prose that we have read in our school days, there has always been a learning, a lesson that the poet wanted to convey through the lines of the poetry or through the lines of the text in the prose. So we have to always take the learnings, take the lessons from those texts. If we revisit them, we will get to learn a lot more that will help us to live our lives better. For this particular session, we have taken two paras of this famous poetry by Rudyard Kipling. We all know Rudyard Kipling.
Sunetra, just one interruption. Your video is off.
Oh, just a minute. Yeah, it's on, I guess.
We can see the video.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, fine. So, we all know Rudyard Kipling, isn't it? We have read about Jungle Book.
Yes, ma'am, obviously.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, here through this particular poem, the poet is trying to convey a deep message to all of us. And this particular poem was written by him to advise his son how you have to perceive the world. Because life always comes with challenges, not one single challenge, lot of challenges. You meet one challenge, you come in contact with another. So all these challenges, all these experiences you have to face, and you have to overcome the hurdles, the barriers. And the main idea of the poem is to inspire you, motivate you to lead a satisfactory life in a balanced way. There will always be ups and downs in life. Our mind will always be disturbed. But we have to be confident, have patience in us to handle and face every situation. So the unique quality is we need to lead such kind of a life. And perhaps we will get to know this answer by the end of this session. Because you have to remember that success and failures come in our life, and we have to accept both with a pinch of salt, because both are part and parcel of our life. And the poet is teaching us how to deal with different kind of situations, how to win the life and all the problems, and ultimately be a better individual in our future ahead. You can read the poem and go through the deep insights that the poet wanted to convey. As you can see, the quote over here, our lives are constantly changing and evolving. Time moves on, age moves on. We have to constantly change and adapt to every changing situation. Are we stuck? We have to do a simple activity. I would love you all to recall one such event or situation where you felt stuck, where you felt everything has come to a halt, come to a standstill. You know, there are times when things go wrong. So I would love you all to share few of those situations you have come across in life in the chat window. Also, how you have dealt with it. I'll give you a very small example. Suppose you are traveling in an auto and while traveling, it broke down halfway to your college. You got down, started walking without wasting your time or without expecting some other mode of transport. So there has been several such incidents in our life where we have come across such situations where we have got setbacks. So if you can share some of those incidents, some of those situations in the chat window. We have 5 minutes for this activity, so would request all of you to actively participate. It will be a fun, trust me. Thank you, Aparajita. Thank you, Shweta.
Welcome, ma'am.
Please do not have any inhibitions. You can share without any hesitation. Thank you, Arpan. Thank you, Priya. Even I can relate to. You know, while in my MBA days, my grandpa passed away back in 2009. I was in the first year, uh, you know, would be appearing for my second sem. And I was very close to my grandpa. But the sudden demise of him made me totally blank. I was not being able to prepare anything for my second sem exams, which was precisely the reason I scored very, very poorly in my exams. I was not being able to concentrate or do anything because I was totally disturbed. After the second sem was over, in the second year, I focused. I focused that I have to overcome. I have to study and do well so that wherever my grandpa is, will be always seeing that I am trying. I'm trying to overcome and do something. So, and that setback helped me to again focus with full determination, with full vigor. I studied, and surprisingly and honestly, I was the topper in my second year. So we all have such memories with us, such situations. Lakshmi ma'am has also shared in the chat. I hope you all can see her experience as well. Yeah, it's from the corporate experience. Thank you, students. Thank you for sharing your memories with us. Thank you. So after all these incidents, you have come back, right? You didn't stop anywhere. Nothing could stop you. Life didn't end over there. In these kind of situations where we might lose an opportunity, lose a chance to do something, lose a personal belonging, or maybe a relationship and more, we always come to a dead end where we hardly know what to do. All that we can see is all the doors of our lives are closed. And such incidents engulf us so much so that we keep looking constantly at the closed doors and hope that the doors will again open in some time. Several such examples are there, and you will have such from your lives as well. But we shouldn't be stopping there. We have to focus on the doors that are open. We have to see that closed doors make us blind, and we are unable to see the opportunities that are wide open in front of us. The new avenues, the new opportunities, those are there. We do not shift our focus and change our perspectives towards such situations. Until and unless we shift our focus, we grab the opportunities that is in front of us, we learn from the past mistakes that we have done, we will remain in the same position, back to square one. But we have to learn from those experiences. We have to have a positive outlook, a positive mindset. That will help us to move on from closed doors to open doors. As you can see, adversities will be there. We have to be relaxed. We have to think that this situation is a temporary situation. This is a trying time, a testing time. This will pass, and this will pass very soon. And that brings us to our topic of the session, resilience. here we have a definition for you, which briefly explains that it's our capability to sail through challenges, changes, crisis situations in our lives with our qualities of perseverance, adaptation, and learning to excel. Because we all have our setbacks in life. The unexpected will happen, circumstances will change, and resilience is the ability to recover from these setbacks, the ability to become strong and strengthen and bounce back in life. It's all about accepting the new reality and not crying or pondering over what was or what was expected. Because we always have our expectations, but not necessary that all expectations will be met. What we have to constantly strive is our will, our determination to fight back, to come back. And now we are here stuck up in this COVID situation almost over 6 months, where the entire world has come to a standstill. I would want you all to share how you have dealt throughout this situation, this 6 months, how you have tried to overcome this situation. We have seen a lot of changes, lot of new normal being set up across the industry, be it in the education, in the corporate, in the medical sector, everywhere across the world. People are adapting to the new normal, adapting themselves, upskilling themselves, trying to learn, unlearn the old and learn the new things, new skills to be able to or to enable them to face the situation and to be successful. So here's another activity for y'all to share what all you have done during the 6 months, how you have dealt through during this period.
Ma'am, should we write in the chat box?
You can unmute yourselves one by one and speak.
Okay, ma'am. Good evening, ma'am. I'm Shweta. So, ma'am, as per I am a classical dancer, so I engage myself in my dancing, and sometimes I went to my neighbors and my relatives' house to enjoy with them to time means in 4 years journey, not in 4 years, 3.5 years journey. I'm not means connected with my relatives, so I've connected and I went there and I enjoyed. And in the middle of the time, I already taught physics and maths to my cousins also. In this way, I've just passed my pandemic situation, and now I'm doing job, ma'am. So
That's great. That's really great.
yes, ma'am. And I'm also getting upset that because of the pandemic situation, my joining letter was means we are not getting the joining letter because it is my campus job. And I was on the other side, I was frustrated that why I've already received my selections letter, my everything, and I already received the join dates also, but I've not received the joining letter. I was somewhat I was frustrated, but I always, ma'am, I had that tendency of how to recover myself. Every time I recover because my dance journey is also not a uh, very easy situations. I face a lots of problems in dance also because uh, means there is a lots of problem because between the dance and my studies, because my mother every time told me that whatever you are doing, it doesn't matter, but you should be very much cautious about your studies. So I faced. So that's a journey of my life. And in this pandemic situation, in this way, I recovered myself.
Lovely. So you have overcome the situation.
Yes, ma'am. Now I've overcome the situations.
Students would request you to participate.
Ma'am, this is Aprajita Basu this side. Can I speak? Can you hear me, ma'am?
Can you be a bit more louder, please?
Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yeah, you're audible.
Yes. So, ma'am, in this pandemic situation, I feel that it affects more to the mental stability of every person. Like bad news were coming from each and every side, from Bollywood, whether we were losing some great actors, and there were also a rise in suicide cases. Uh, but we are like cursing, like 2020 is a cursed year. So there is a negativity around ourselves. We should try to think positive so that we can create a positive environment, and we should also share things with our close people, so that uh, the negative energy should be out from our body to gain some positive energy. So in this pandemic situation, I've also started giving tuition to really small kids in our locality, so that I can pass my time listening to them, talking to them, and also try to educate them and present them my skills, whatever I had. So it's been a uh, very cheerful journey for me. Being a teacher, I also enjoy with students.
Thank you so much. Others, please write your experiences, share your experiences on the chat. Lovely, Shuparna. Congratulations for your YouTube channel. Wow, Amol. So you are into cooking as well?
Okay, let's proceed with the session.
Yes.
Thank you all for sharing so much of your experiences. If we look at the stories that you have shared during this crisis time of the last 6 months, we can see most of us, have adapted to new things, have learned new things, or we have found new ways of doing the same old things in different ways. Like many of you have not shared your experiences, but I'm sure most of you have such new experiences to share, and you have actually grown from somewhere to some better level. And looking back at the earlier exercise where you shared a situation that you had to face in life, which was a difficult situation, and how you dealt with it. If we look at it, we can see that all of us go through some situations and we actually come out. It's very few that, succumb to such situations. So we all basically have some capability, or we develop some capability during our difficult times to cope up with such situations. What it involves is what we talked about resilience. Like, it's not an inherited trait or something like that kind. If it is in our system, if it's in our gene, we need to improve upon it. We need to work upon it more. If we do not have, we can still pick up, by adapting to various learnings, talking to people. And there are various ways to build up resilience. So what it does, it's most of the situations in life we can see, we come across many people who were nowhere, but they have come up to higher levels. It's all because they have been resilient. They have been open to facing struggles and cross over them. How can resilience actually, help you? How it involves an openness to find your way through any situation. We have seen that, whenever there is a poor situation, whenever there is a difficult situation, you cross over that using some strategies, and then you reach a better situation. For most of you who have mentioned about, starting your online classes and or studying new things, it's good that you have come up with such strategies. Some of you did mention that you did not crack your first interview. Life is a long way. This is just the first interview. There is nothing to, feel bad about it. It just gives you an opportunity to revisit and find out what more can you learn, what did not work well in that interview, and how you can improve. And it's always also remember, when your interviews do not work in your favor, I mean, it need not be like you have to be blamed. There can be situations where your skill doesn't match the requirement of the employer. So there can be such situations. So you need to, ponder over all such things and get more prepared for the next interviews. Resilience is, something that leads to a very high level of satisfaction in life. It can improve relationships with your friends, family, and anybody like neighbors, employees, peers. And once we get into the habit of resilience, it actually protects us from long-term difficulties. Because challenges, as Sunetra said earlier, challenges, difficulties in life are going to come, and they are constant. It's only we build ourselves in such a way that we do not realize the magnitude of those things. Difficulties can come, but we have the weapons to, deal with them, or we can handle them. See, this is a picture that shows the multidimensional aspect of resilience. So it is not a single, resilience is not a single factor that one person can have. It's not like, I like to have tea, so I have tea. It's not like that. It's a multi-dimension. So when we look at the dimensions, there are different aspects. If you see cognitive, behavioral, motivational, emotional, we would be like any one of us, if we look at it, we would be at different levels in each of these traits. The whole idea is to build ourselves up slowly in every trait, so that, we are more resilient to external factors. I just explained to you in brief, like what it is each one is about. When you talk about cognitive, it is your thinking ability, or it's your understanding ability to deal with the daily stress situations or any problems that come up. Behavioral is something that how you talk, how you react, how you cross over. Motivational is focusing on what you want to achieve and not getting, set back because of some happenings. Emotional is to tolerate, any negative emotions that make you hopeless, make you feel bad. It's okay if you fail. You have not lost everything in life. You're just in your 20s. There is a whole lot of decades to go. You can always spend another year and, build up again. There is nothing to lose. And if you think of, a lot of people think like, oh, if I lose this 1 year, like I am lost financially. I am, there can be family situations where you need the finance, but you can always find out ways how you can earn that little money. Because see, today's world, there is so much of opportunity that you can sit at home and work, and you can work actually any part of the day. 24/7, there are opportunities to work. So, nothing should actually stop you. No failure should stop you. Spiritual, this is a very complicated topic. We will not get into the details of it. See, but being spiritual is looking at a larger purpose and meaning of human life. Our lives are just not to deal with, what we eat, what we dress, what we enjoy. It's something a little more, like how we can help others, how we can support others, how we can add value to something, and how we can actually add value to our earth. Relational, I think most of you must be good in relationships with your parents, friends. That's what most of us are. Most Indians are like good in relationships. Characteristics of resilience. Like as we said, like once you start developing your resilience, how do you what are the indicators? You start having your self-esteem to be at a higher plateau. You don't feel, every day, oh, I'm nobody, I cannot do this, I'm not good at this. You start developing a high self-esteem. And then you become flexible. You are not rigid that if you do not get this, I will not do this sort of a thing. You become more flexible. You adapt to situations. You develop strong relationships. You have a control over your emotions. You become non-judgmental. You do not judge any situation or people just to suit your convenience. You accept the other person as the person is. And then you also develop a lot of coping strategies as days go by. Okay, when we talked about resilience in this session, we have talked only about personal resilience. There are other areas which, environmental, emotional, corporate, there are a lot of areas. We are currently considering only personal resilience. So what does personal resilience talk about? If you become resilient, what is the impact, what you can see, or what others can see in you? We can see that you can manage your emotions very well. You have a problem solving approach. Your concentration and focus increases over the days. You are physically more fit. Your involvement in social activities increase. Above all these things, you actually align to the workplace. Your workplace can be your college, your institute, or the place where you work, or where you conduct your sessions, your training sessions, your tuitions, everywhere. You actually start aligning to the workplace. Personal resilience, is often related to three main factors related to a person. Like it's just belongs to us. We are under control. We are the ones who can control the situation. The first thing is control over oneself, like how we behave, how we talk, how we see, how we perceive. The second thing is control over responses to people. You need not, give an outburst, or you need not react or shout back, or you need not be unhappy about any situation that happens in front of you. You can react in a calmer way. You can deal with the situation with a more, with a more decent level of interaction. And then the third one is personal control over responses to events. Okay, are you able to hear? Because
Ma'am, your voice is breaking.
Yes,
okay, now is it better?
Yeah, clear.
yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So when personal control over responses to events, often you wait for an auto, you don't get an auto. What is your reaction? You start shouting, you become impatient. A lot of things happen, right? But we have the control. We can control our responses to events that happen around us. If we can develop this habit, we will be at peace with ourselves, and we will also get our work done smoothly. By the time you will be fighting, with a particular auto driver or a taxi driver when he is refusing to take you to a particular designation, you would be missing 4 other empty autos or taxis. I mean, this is common, you know, if you take example of any such thing. The energy that we waste in, you know, arguing or having a conflict with any person or situation takes away the cream part of our life. So resilient people in common, they are committed to goals. They focus what they want to achieve. They don't blame others. They blame themselves as to what went wrong, and they, you know, give an introspection to the whole situation as to what went wrong and why and how that can be solved. Resilient people are often empathetic. They think positive and they see challenges as opportunities. So it's very important to, you know, become resilient so that you develop all these qualities. If you have these qualities, you can consider yourself like, you know, on the path to becoming resilient. And these are some of the strategies that we can develop, which is nothing but, you know, the same as the characteristics. We work with the clarity, what we want to achieve. We build self-awareness, we keep updating ourselves, we learn more, we learn from the situations, we learn from the people around. We actualize strengths, and then we improve and widen our coping skills. And the most important is to make our support networks very strong. We need to work with, you know, we need to have a very good relation with the family, friends, neighbors, with whomever you are associated with. Now, what happens is at times of, you know, your bad situations or bad times, you should have a network to fall back on. I mean, you know, like, you know, if you maintain this, it's easy to fall back on a support network. Okay, how to build resilience. We have seen, you know, what is resilience, what is its importance, how does it impact? Like, so how do we build our resilience? I have listed, there are a lot of areas where we should build ourselves, but we have listed only 5 points here. We start looking at from the point 2, energy. What is about energy? We have our physical energy, we have our mental energy. Now, if we drain ourselves, like, you know, we spend hours and hours on the mobile, we spend a lot of time, you know, being awake, not sleeping on time. What we at the end of the day do is we drain our energy. So, and now this can be aggravated by lack of sleep, poor food habits, and then we become tired. What we end up doing is we react to people in a harsh way. We start, you know, shouting at others. We get very irritated. So maintaining the energy level is very important. So all that needs to be done to maintain that energy level is following, you know, a disciplined lifestyle. Perspectives. What do you talk about perspective? You know, if you have a good view, if you have a clear view as to what you want to what you want to achieve, and if there is a problematic situation, if you have to try to get a bigger view of the situation and not react without looking at the bigger view. At times, it can be you know, useful if you step away from the situation for a while and think with an open mind before jumping into any conclusion. So viewing with the right perspective is important. Priorities. When you talk about priorities, all of us have some certain priorities in life. We need to have a clear sense of purpose based on our values and strengths. This will help us to maintain some positive outlook. If we waste our time, you know, in unnecessary conflicts and unnecessary discussions, what we will do is we will lose our energy and we will also deviate from our goals, from our path towards achieving our goals. So keeping always focused on priorities is something very important. relationships, we have already discussed the importance of it. Now let's look at the emotional intelligence part. This is a scenario where you feel threatened by a person or a situation, or you have a disagreement with someone. Any of you can just unmute yourself and say, like, what would you do in such a situation? You know, somebody says, okay, one of your professors say that you will be rusticated, you will not be given attendance, or anything it could be. Your parents say that, you know, they will not provide you with a new phone. There can be so many situations. So you feel very threatened by a person or a situation, or you're having a disagreement with someone. How would you react?
Ma'am, may I?
Yeah, tell me. Go ahead.
Ma'am, whatever will be the reason of disagreement with anyone, I will try first to make him or her understand what my point is, like what is my view, and I will also try to listen to him or her that what he or she is trying to tell me or convey his or her message, so that I can relate with mine, or if there can be like I can also be right, he or she can also be right. So I will try to listen to that message, and I will try providing mine in a polite manner, so that there will be no harsh way to hamper his emotional feelings or something.
Excellent answer, Priya.
Thank you, ma'am.
So, see, actions, Priya has answered perfectly. We identify our own emotions and we identify others' emotions and see things objectively. We respect others' view. So anything that we had to come to a decision, you know, will be a correlation of all these things. It's something intermediary between the emotions of the two sets of people, the viewpoints of the two sets of people. So it may not happen immediately. We need to give that time. It can take days, it can take a few more weeks, you know, to solve such issues. What are the skills that you're applying to deal with such a situation? You're applying your interpersonal skills, you're talking to the person, you're communicating to the person your point of view, and you're also connecting emotionally with the person. And now, what is the result? Stronger relationship with the person and a more shared understanding. So there can be situations, once you develop this, you might even forget, you know, what was your first goal when the argument started. We might skip even, you know, not having the phone, or, you know, a lot of such situations we accept and move forward because we have developed that level of understanding with the other person. Okay, just quickly, steps forward. All of these things we have already discussed. These are just pointers for you. You can quickly read through. You know, I would like to, you know, highlight, avoid self-pity. Never think yourself, you know, something that you are weak, you cannot do this. Always have a, you know, can-do attitude. You need to believe in yourself. You need to have faith in yourself. And if you cannot find a solution, if you do not know the way, you need to reach out to the right set of people for that dealing with such situation. Manage your feelings with healthy self-expression. Again, your expression matters a lot. If you shout and scream, the other person will not even listen to you, even if you say 100% correct things. Okay, I hope you have read through all these points.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we have just, you know, all of us are resilient to some extent. It's only the magnitude that differs. When we, you know, deal with people at home or just neighbors, probably we are able to do it. Tomorrow, when you're going into the corporate world, Your resilience power has to increase much more than what you have right now, because there you will be coming across wider varieties of people, belonging to different domains, different characteristics, different mindsets. Okay, so what you need to do is to increase your resilience. There are certain things that you need to follow. um, Making realistic plans and finding ways to carry out those plans. You should have a plan. You should focus on what you want to achieve. You have to improve your communication skills. The way you talk to your parents, you cannot talk to your, subordinates or peers or your managers. So the communication skills have to be improved to deal with every person. You have to manage your feelings. You have to control your impulses. Focus always on your problem solving skills. You need to solve a problem. The focus should not be on attacking the other person or the situation. Build a positive image. You portray what you are. People understand you from the way you talk, the way you deal with others, and the way you respect them. Be strong. Be very confident of yourself. The most important thing is avoid as much as possible complaining about anybody or complaining about any situation or blaming anybody. Always go. There can be bad situations which need complaining, but instead of complaining, you can discuss a solution for that situation. The most important thing is every problem, treat them as opportunities to build resilience. We are on the top of the time. I think we are soon to finish. This organizational psychologist Adam Grant says, I don't think there is any skill more critical for success than resilience. So focus on resilience as you move on to the corporate world. Okay, we do a quick reflect on, we saw that door open and door closed activity. In our lives, we have seen that many doors close and many doors open. So these are the few questions that you can keep asking. We can share them with you, which reflects on how you dealt with a past situation. To whom did you reach? Did you see the open door soon, or did you at all not see the open door, though you knew it existed? Did the experience bring you anything positive learning? What are the characteristics that you applied there to handle the situation? All these things, how will you, like in future, if you see a door closed, how would you deal with it? So these are the things that you can reflect back, and what will happen is, as you grow, you actually mature. You are better in dealing with situations. What it took for 2 days, 5 days in the earlier, situations to come out of a problem or to come out of a pain, probably it will not take you even an hour to come out of such situations. So whatever you learned, it's also important. It's not enough if you are resilient. You have to make the people around you also resilient. Then only the relationship can grow, the situations can improve. So whatever you learned, you can think of how you can help others. We included an additional topic, on emotional maturity, which is a very, very wide topic. Now, based on what we have learned, like, what are the traits that we need to develop to become resilient, we just touch upon this emotional maturity. It's a concept, like how you become a changed person, from a very simple, ordinary, helpless person who is very scared. Some of you mentioned that, you got onto the stage and you could not even utter a word. This is very common. This is nothing uncommon. People are doing it who are able to do it. It's fine. They have the resilience. But there are hundreds of people you will find actually, facing this kind of a situation. Everybody is not the same. So how do you transit yourself from that situation to a better situation. So there are different steps that you can take. You could have, 5 years back, 6 years back, you could have, been in a situation where you got onto a stage and you could not speak. But I'm sure all of you being management students have had a lot of scope to, give presentations to your class. So I'm sure you've come out of those cases a lot. And in future, you'll be giving more presentations to your peers and other people in your office. So you'll slowly, gradually improve upon this. So the shift, the transit from a simple, helpless person to a matured person, that what helps you in doing that is the emotional maturity, which you need to grow, which you need to nurture. It's not a given. It's not a given title or something like that kind. Okay. So emotional maturity also, talks about the way that you are able to nurture relationships, the way you're being able to listen to others and understand others, and how you're ready to, uplift others. And you always put yourself in a good perspective and view the situations in a wider outlook, give a wider outlook to any situation that happens. Avoid blaming others, but rather fix the problem. So I said, like earlier, you focus on the solution instead of the problem. Short quiz. This is a quote by somebody. Pursue the goals even when you face difficulties. Convert adversities into opportunities. Can anybody say who is the person who said this? If you want a hint, he's a leading industrialist in our country. Can anybody help the answer?
Ratan Tata.
No.
Mukesh Ambani.
No. You're very close.
Azim Premji.
No. It's Dhirubhai Ambani, as far as I know.
Okay.
But all these people, Ratan Tata, have always, focused on converting adversities into opportunities. If you look into their, travel path, how they have come so much, how much lives they have touched upon, they have always converted every adversity into opportunities. Sir, I have a question. Do we have another 10 minutes? Because there was a video that I wanted to share.
Yes, you can take. No issue.
Oh, thank you, sir. Showing a video on emotional maturity.
Okay, ma'am.
Have you ever noticed how some people just light up a room from the moment that they walk in? Now, if you've ever struggled with speaking up, standing out, and just getting comfortable in your
One of the more puzzling aspects of the way we're built is that our emotional development does not necessarily or automatically keep pace with our physical growth. We can be 55 on the outside and 4.5 in terms of our impulses and manner of communicating, just as we can be on the threshold of adulthood physically while an emotional sage within. In order to assess our own and others' emotional development, we can make use of a single, deceptively simple question that quickly gets to the core of our underlying emotional age. When someone on whom we depend emotionally lets us down, disappoints us, or leaves us hanging and uncertain, what is our characteristic way of responding? There are 3 methods which indicate emotionally immature behavior. We might grade ourselves on a scale of 1 to 10 according to our propensities. Firstly, we might sulk. That is, we simultaneously get very upset while refusing to explain to the person who has upset us what the problem might actually be. The insult to our pride and dignity feels too great. We are too internally fragile to reveal that we've been knocked. We hope against hope that another person might simply magically understand what they've done and fix it without us needing to speak. Rather, as an infant who hasn't yet mastered language might have a hope that a parent would spontaneously enter their minds and just guess what was ailing them. Secondly, we might get furious. Another response is to get extremely and disproportionately angry with the disappointing person. Our fury may look powerful, but no one who felt powerful would have any need for such titanic rage. Inside, we feel broken, at sea and bereft. But our only way of reasserting control is to mimic an aggrieved emperor or taunted tiger. Our insults and viciousness are, in their coded ways, admissions of terror and defenselessness. Our pain is profoundly poignant, our manner of dealing with it a good deal sadder. Thirdly, we might go cold. It takes a lot of courage to admit to someone who's hurt us that we care, that they have a power over us, that a key bit of our life is in their hands. It may be a lot easier to put up a strenuous wall of indifference. At precisely the moment when we are most emotionally vulnerable to a loved one's behaviour, we insist that we haven't noticed a slight and wouldn't give a damn anyway. We may not simply be pretending. Remaining in touch with our wounds may have become conclusively intolerable. Not feeling anything may have replaced the enormous threat of being fully alive. These 3 responses point us in turn to the 3 markers of emotional maturity. Firstly, the capacity to explain. That is, the power, simple to describe but a proper accomplishment in practice, to explain why we are upset to the person who's upset us, to have faith that we can find the words, that we are not pathetic or wretched for suffering in a given way, and that, with a bit of luck, we will find the words to make ourselves understood by someone whom we can remember deep down, even at this moment of stress, is not our enemy. Secondly, the capacity to stay calm. The mature person knows that robust self-assertion is always an option down the line. This gives them the confidence not to need to shout immediately, to give others the benefit of every doubt, and not to assume the worst and then hit back with undue force. The mature like themselves enough not to suspect that everyone would have a good reason to mock and slander them. Thirdly, the capacity to be vulnerable. The mature know and have made their peace with the idea that being close to anyone will open them up to being hurt. They feel enough inward strength to possess a tolerable relationship with their own weakness. They are unembarrassed enough by their emotional nakedness to tell even the person who has apparently humiliated them that they are in need of help. They trust, ultimately, that there is nothing wrong with their tears, and that they have the right to find someone who will know how to bear them. In turn, these 3 traits belong to what we can call the 3 cardinal virtues of emotional maturity: communication, trust, and vulnerability. These 3 virtues were either gifted to us during a warm and nourishing childhood, or else we will need to learn them arduously as adults. This is akin to the difference between growing up speaking a foreign language and having to learn it over many months as an adult. However, the comparison at least gives us an impression of the scale of the challenge ahead of us. There is nothing to be ashamed of about our possible present ignorance. At least half of us weren't brought up in the land of emotional literacy. We may just never have heard adults around us speaking an emotionally mature dialect. So we may, despite our age, need to go right back to school and spend 5,000 to 10,000 hours learning, with great patience and faith, the beautiful and complex grammar of the language of emotional adulthood.
Our emotional barometer.
So, how did you like the video?
Ma'am, it was good.
Yes, it was
Yes, ma'am.
It was good.
Did you get the message, like, the importance of learning emotional maturity, the importance of developing emotional maturity? None of us come, learning from home.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So thank you so much, Sunetra and Lakshmi, for conducting a wonderful session for the students with a very pertinent topic of today's environment, where this resilience is of most important, because there are always chances of failure, definitely for the for the young professionals like them. But however, we need to come back always. So thank you for all the suggestions you have provided to the budding managers. So it is a wonderful gestures and wonderful presentation by both of you.
I would just love to add on towards as an ending note, like Nelson Mandela, we all know, he was imprisoned for 27 years. He was asked, like, how are you surviving this situation? He replied that I am not surviving, I am preparing myself. And there is a very famous quote, I never lose. I either win or learn. So we all need to learn from such examples, from our experiences that we have shared, and you will also get a lot of experiences in your own life as well. So best wishes to all of you.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you,
thank you
ma'am.
for the wonderful participation by
ma'am.
both the students.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Welcome.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
So thanks to all of you. So we are formally ending our session for the day today. So definitely we'll be getting in touch with both the speaker of today, that is Sunetra and Lakshmi, for some further session in future. So thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Sir. Thank you, ma'am.